If you would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, to be followed by a moment of silence, please.
This conference will now be recorded.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. We do have a quorum present. All members except James Graves are present tonight. Reminder, as usual, make sure your microphone is on if you're speaking. We need to adopt the agenda. Anyone see anything that needs to be added to or changed?
Move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Any general public comment at this time? Always try to ask that. Any public comment? Okay, thank you. We do need to adopt the minutes from October 15th, 2025 meeting. Does anyone see anything that needs to be changed or corrected?
Move to adopt the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adopt the minutes as presented. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. The minutes from October 15th, 2025 will be adopted. All right, tonight we have two public hearings. First is case number SU-09-25-01, Darrell Payne, a special use permit. This is the public hearing on this application. Darrell Payne has submitted an application for a special use permit for a mini storage facility on property identified as Madison County Tax Map 40-19B. The subject parcel is 2.959 acres and is zoned B1 Business General. Mini storage units are a special permit use in the B1 zoning district, Article 8-2-11. The proposed activity is to take place in an existing building. No new structures are proposed. Mr. Nichols, anything to add there?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
this place is up for auction, and I'm part of that team. I'm going to excuse myself from this application.
Okay, thank you, Pete. Anything to add, Mr.?
Nothing significant, Mr. Chairman, only that VDOT commented at preliminary development that the site already has a full commercial entrance, and they did not require any changes with this change of use. Health Department didn't have any comments as they already meet the criteria. And the building official simply stated that the applicant will have to apply for a change of use for some of the building code issues involved. But otherwise, Mr. Payne is here simply because this activity requires a special use permit in this site.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Nichols? Any questions for Mr. Nichols? All right, any questions for Mr. Payne? Any public comment on this application? Anyone online? No one? Okay. All right. That being the case, can I hear a motion on this case?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that case number SU-09-25-01 be sent to the Board of Supervisors for approval.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Payne. Next case is case number SU-05-25-01, Gerald Fuchs, a special use permit. This is the public hearing on this one also. Gerald Fuchs is seeking a special use permit in accordance with Madison County zoning ordinance, Article 5-2-1, for livestock on a lot less than 2 acres. The subject property is located at 3632 Wolftown Hood Road, identified as the Madison County Tax Map 46-54B. The parcel is 1.191 acres and is zoned R1. Anything to add there, Mr. Nichols?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the only thing is that a copy of the draft permit is in your packet. It has the condition that was discussed at the last workshop, and beyond that, there's been nothing changed.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Nichols?
I do.
Yes,
So I was looking under the requirements for VADAX for livestock, and I couldn't find anything. I mean, is that, I mean, I see nothing with compliance with requirements. Can you point me in the direction of what that would regulate or anything?
This was the direction from the Planning Commission that you all wanted this language in here, so no, I do not have any guidance on that one.
Can anybody give me any guidance on that? Because if you look under VADAX, there's nothing really there for, that would reflect anything about that, so.
Mr. Chairman, I read the draft letter that we got from the agriculture department here, talked about grazing. I have a tendency to kind of disagree with that. The reason I have a tendency to disagree with that, let's say that I want to fence off an acre of land and put 20 cattle in there, and I'm gonna feed them grain just to fatten them up, and there ain't gonna be a blade of grass in there. You go out here to the landfill, and right before you get to the landfill, there's 3 horses in there that ain't had a blade of grass for 10 years, and they fat as bug. So I think the method of saying they gotta have grass don't hold water.
any further comment or question from Mr. Nichols?
Wouldn't that be a feedlot then?
But even though it's a feedlot,
Yeah, but feedlots are defined and restricted to high-intense agriculture.
They would be, but that would presuppose that you were using it for commercial purposes.
Any further questions or comments? Anything for Mr. Nichols?
I do have one other question,
Yes.
if you will, Mr. Chairman. I apologize. If an SUP were granted, and we do have the ordinance proposal in front of us we need to act on, if the ordinance then is revised and becomes more restrictive than what was allowed in an SUP, would the conditions revert then back to what the ordinance requires?
I suppose that if you would have on your hands a non-conforming activity, and Annan, correct me if I'm wrong, but a non-conforming activity in the Commonwealth is allowed to continue as long as it has existed for the 2 years prior, and the individuals have paid their taxes. I believe those are the 2 provisions that are in place. So in this case, if he's granted the special use permit and something came along that was more restrictive, as long as he did not discontinue that use for a period of 2 years, he would be allowed to continue.
Could it be conditioned on his change in ordinance that would revoke the SUP?
So what, you're saying SUP gets granted, and then there's an ordinance change to what he's doing?
The ordinance change is more restrictive.
So I would say the SUP somewhat modifies the zoning for that particular piece of property. Yep, at the existing zoning, but if zoning comes along and changes that, then he's gonna be subject to the new zoning, the way kind of we all are. I'd like to look more into that before I gave you a final answer on that.
so if he got passed under that, Mr. Wright, if he got passed under that, he wouldn't be grandfathered in?
I don't think so. I think we're all subject to changes in the zoning administrator. But I could,
So if I spend a lot of money creating a place for me to have animals or whatever, and you come along next week, decide you wanna change it, then I'm out.
well, right, I mean, but it wouldn't all happen that fast, but yes.
Not a very good use of land rights.
Any further discussion, question on this for Mr. Nichols?
I have discussion, it's not necessarily for Mr. Nichols.
Okay, well, before we move to that, is
Oh,
there
okay,
any?
sorry.
Well, that's fine. Any question for Mr. Fuchs? Okay, Mike, go ahead with your discussion.
Well, as I kind of talked about, last time we talked about this, I would like to put some kind of a limit on the amount of, animals that we're gonna allow on this. Because it could be that, if we allow this as it is right now, the applicant could come up with 25, 50 goats within the next, say, 5 years, next year, next week, which would kind of go beyond what we're really here trying to do. I still think that we needed to put some kind of a number on this, and maybe that's not the right thing to do, but that's the way I feel about it anyway, to protect the neighbors.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Mr. Chairman, and there's just some inconsistency with a lot of different things. I mean, we're looking at a special use permit, which is basically saying, here's, a parcel of land where something's not necessarily designed to happen within this way, and are we going to allow it based on special circumstances? I think, to me, when I'm looking at it, I appreciate Mr. Lillard's input on the sort of typical grazing of different types of livestock, but I mean, there's so much that goes into that as far as, yield, condition of that property and how it's maintained, and soil quality and stuff like that, and then are you supplementing feed? I mean, I think, to me, I'm generally in favor of the special use permit for the Fuchs, and I think that I would be looking at a number of 9 or less goats on this specific parcel.
Thank you. Further discussion?
I'm in agreement.
Okay.
Mr. Carpenter, I'm going to correct myself from earlier to Mr. Smith's question, which is if the SUP gets passed and then the applicant and now permit holder starts exercising that special use permit, then he becomes a non-conforming use that can continue even with a zoning change. So if he were, for people that have not gotten an SUP or discontinue it, they would not be able to get it, but somebody that already has it, that becomes a vested right. Thank you, Mr. Nichols.
Further discussion? All right, sounds like there's some interest in requesting that the applicant agree to a specific maximum number of goats here. Is that, I hear 2 people saying that. Is that, do we have more than one person? There were 2 people? Yes. 3 or 4, okay.
I would also say, let's strike that, the number 1 that's there already, because it really holds no water to anything. I appreciate Mr. Nichols putting it in there upon our request, but I don't think it really says anything.
Both Mr. Cave, I guess with animal control, as well as Mr. Lillard, who is certainly the subject matter expert. And I can understand Mr. Elliott's view that intensive feeding of animals in a smaller area, but I hearken back to the whole notion that the special regulations were put in place in the ordinance for small R1 lots. And there was an expectation that people who wanted to live in an agricultural and a rural area could do so, but still maintain some semblance of order with respect to the agricultural activities next door to them. Granted, everything in this county is going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4 steps removed from being next door to a lot that's A1. But the expectation of living in a property, a small property, and not having a mountain of goats next door to you or cattle or anything else, I really think we need to incorporate the stocking rates. And it's not just Mr. Lillard. I looked at this, and this is best practices throughout the county or throughout the country. When this came up, Mr. Elliott rightfully acknowledged the fact that we are an agricultural area. We do have students that need to engage in 4-H, scouting, animal husbandry, merit badges, FFA, any number of things. And if they do that, they normally are going to be doing it as you would do it in an agricultural setting. So you would have your 1,000-pound cow and a calf would be an animal unit per 1 excellent acre, or 2 500-pound steers or 5 ewes. And to venture beyond that, I mean, my thought was being, when we're discussing the ordinance, that the ordinance would say that we will do this for those students, and it would be a short time, one project thing that they would get, file for a permit for, that helps them in their educational experience and learning that there are zoning restrictions and they have to file for them. There wouldn't be a charge for them to do it, but that'd be part of their learning experience. And the only exception we made was the notion of a backyard flock of some size, just to support the household, have eggs or chickens or whatever. And if you wanted to venture well beyond that, then there's plenty of A1 property around, and you find that and you live on that.
So, Mr. Chairman, so what happens when we got a piece of R1 here, and the guy next door to him's got A1, and he can do it by right? So what do you do to stop him? The neighbor comes in, he ain't happy, he's on A1, he has a right to do it.
The way it's written, yeah.
That's the way it should be. He's got the right, and
But
R1
you're not
small
solving
acreage
the
doesn't.
problem, Jim. You're trying to solve the problem of people not having goats on small lots. If it's R1 on both sides of the man, he's still gonna have goats and still be complaining.
But that's the way the zoning is.
The way I feel about it at this point, we're not doing the ordinance change right at this particular moment. We're trying to run an SUP. So under this particular SUP, that's all gonna be after the fact. Right now, we're here to run this SUP. And going beyond that at this moment is not really, I don't think, what we're supposed to be doing at the moment. I mean, granted, we got to be talking about it at some point when we do the ordinance change, but right now, we're running an SUP for an applicant, and I think we should probably stay focused on that.
I agree, yeah. I mean, we've already,
I mean, we can talk about all the rest of it later.
yep.
Right now, we're running an SUP for an applicant. That's just the way that I feel about it.
Mr. Chairman, I do concur with Mr. Smith, though, on the numbers, and I feel like we do need to have some type of research or scientific backstop for us, instead of just willy-nilly throwing a figure out there. And even as stated in Mr. Lillard's, with an R1, you're going to have a house, you're going to have a well. There are well restrictions, too, from VDH, which we haven't even talked about. Livestock's not supposed to be around water wells within 50 feet in an R1. So there are other restrictions that even supersede probably this number with 5. However, I think if we are going to approve this SUP or consideration with it, we can use this as a base number. And so for me personally, at 5 per acre, and this is a 1.19, so I'm going to round it up to 1.2 acre, I feel comfortable with 6 goats approved for this SUP personally.
Okay, any further? At this point, since it seems pretty clear that we're looking for a maximum number of goats on this property, can we discuss this with the applicant at this point and still be with, yeah?
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
could I ask Mr. Wright a question?
yes.
So this was advertised, Mr. Wright, without a number. Can we change it and make a number?
Mr. Fuchs, would you like to come to the microphone, please? And as usual, identify yourself, and we'll go from there.
Gerald Fuchs, 3632 Wolftown Hood Road, Madison.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fuchs. It appears that there's an overwhelming desire here to have a maximum number of goats on this property. Is there, well, first of all, what is your response to that, and are you interested in dealing with that?
Right now, we currently have 5. We borrowed 2, but I think at the time, I think we had 9 or 10. We had 10 altogether at one time, and I still had to mow the grass up there. I mean, it's a fairly huge area. I would be comfortable with the number of 9. I mean, a goat can have babies, and I don't know how many they can have at one time, but 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
So I got 2 females. So, but I'd be happy with the number 9, like, I can't remember who said that, but I think Nathan said it, I'm guessing.
All right, the concerns appears to be grazing as the only food source. Is that how you deal with your goats, or do you supplement them?
No, grazing is just, that's something they do. We definitely give them a lot of hay. And with goats, you have to give them a lot of hay because there's ruined stomachs. But yes, we give them grass during the day and at night, all during the day to get hay. So plenty of food, grain, we give them grain. But yeah, they're healthy goats.
So the fairly low limit based on grazing is really not applicable here, because the grazing is more supplemental and for the well-being of the animals, I think. So
I also make a note too that when I built that fence, I built it so it was away from water wells. They can't be, I think it's probably 75 feet away from a water well. I mean, everything's perfect the way it should be, I think. In my opinion, of course.
Okay, so it looks like we're at the negotiation between 6 and 9 stage. Yeah, Pete.
Can we change the number without the approval of the guy? He didn't submit his application with a number. So if we acting on the application, can we act on the application without a number, or can we put a number in there, Mr. Wright?
Add the condition, yeah.
I mean, as long as it's based on some rational metric.
But can the applicant request that you act on what he submitted?
He could, yes.
Okay, so at this point, we're talking about anywhere between 5, 6, and 9, so. And with the understanding that the applicant can say, I just don't want to do that either, but. Any discussion, comments? Yes.
My final comment will be for the protection of our one neighbors as well. Both sides here have rights,
Yep.
and it's clearly we've beaten this with a dead goat. But I think if we establish a number that's provided by science, provided by another state agency, and one that is respected, an agricultural agency, it's a safe limit for the animals, and I think it would be reputable for the R1 neighbors as well. as a backstop in case anything should be brought up or complained about, in my opinion. So I'm still at 6.
You're still at 6, okay. Further discussion? I guess that, Nathan, you were saying a few more,
I'd go with 6.
you go 6. Are you willing to go with 6?
I mean,
And
I
get
got,
this out of the way?
yeah, I got 5, I got 2 I can butcher. It can easily go. But, and then I got 1 female, I know she's pregnant. But the other one, I don't know if she's pregnant yet, but it could work, it'd be tight. I mean, I would hate to have a goat have a baby, and then my neighbors call, he's over the limit, you know? I think there should be a little bit of buffer in there too.
Okay, 6 adult goats?
Yeah, you know, what do you consider an adult too? I mean, what, I would say 1, 1.5, 2-year-old goat is an adult, what?
Yeah, the deeper we get, the more
Exactly.
rules.
We'll never enforce that.
Yeah,
That's not enforceable at all.
No.
I mean, it sounds good, looks good on paper, but we'll never be able to enforce that.
And, I mean, I'm glad we're here to talk about goats.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
never talked about a storage unit. I mean, even on my property, I put up to shield the neighbors, I put up a privacy, 250-foot of privacy fence to protect the neighbors, so they don't have to see them. I think I've done pretty good. I mean, plus there's a neighbor beside me. He's got what, 20, 30, whatever goats. He's got a lot of goats. There's a neighbor across the street from the complaining party. There's a neighbor across the street. He's probably got about 7 of them.
Mr. Fuchs, yeah, you're correct, and I mean, I just want to say, I mean, we're aware of all of that as well, and
Yes.
I'm personally aware of all of that. I think you've done a pretty responsible job with what you've been doing, but unfortunately, and that's a big gray area with different opinions, but when it comes down to the ordinance, you're, by the current zoning ordinance, entitled to 0 goats.
Right,
I'm a fan of goats, but I think 6, like Mr. Whitman proposed, is a very reasonable compromise in regards for the fact that you seem to have been a good steward there. And so I don't know where to move forward. Again, I don't think we can make you amend your special use permit. It's up to you. But
No, I'll accept any number. I mean, I'm happy because I got an 11-year-old. I mean, we never had goats before, and then when we got the goat, you know, he finally took interest to it. And, you know, every time he goes to school, gotta say bye to my goats. It's what he does.
So once again, how many personal goats have you got without,
5.
without a friend's?
5 personal goats.
You've got 5 of your own?
One's
and-
pregnant,
And
for
one's
sure.
pregnant. And you've got 2 of somebody else's
Yes,
that you can give back to them,
yes,
assuming if they're
Yes.
not yours, you could give them back.
yes, yes.
okay, at this point, would you be willing to add the second condition that would be maximum number of 6 goats?
6. 6 would be all right, I mean.
Okay. All right, so we can direct Mr. Nichols to add that condition and.
You
we'll
do
go from
harvest them though, right? That's your
yes.
purpose
Yeah.
of this, so
Yes.
you could,
Yes. I mean, tastes good on the grill.
there.
I mean, these aren't pets, right?
Some are.
I've never eaten my pet before.
I
so
mean,
I-
these are great animals. I mean, that's one thing you teach your kids. I mean, you gotta teach them the cycle of life. I remember we had a chicken named Bob.
Guys, what do we want to do with the VDAX reference?
I'd like to see it taken out personally because we have so much of a hard time enforcing anything to begin with. Why throw something else in there that is not making any sense? And I'm for number 6 as well.
Okay, Mr. Wright, can we take a condition out that's been advertised if we add something that's more restrictive?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So it sounds like what we're looking at with your agreement would be taking out the existing one condition and putting in its place the condition of a maximum of 6 goats. And you're agreeable to that?
Yes,
Okay.
but the other thing would be, I got that one that's gonna have baby.
Yeah.
So possibly
Well-
for sure 2. So that'd put me over, what would that, I got 5, that'd put me 7, 6.
Can we put a condition in there as well that we give him at least to the first of the year? Because he's got to get the other 2 out. So I think we should give him some kind of a time frame of a month or 2 to get rid of them. I mean, we could probably say January 1 of 2026.
Yeah, I know on special use permits, we sometimes do have time intervals involved, don't we?
I think the way you'd word it is you would just say that it's approved, and then beginning January 1 of 2026, the upper limit is 6 goats, or, however we phrase it. So he can have 50 between now and January.
Yeah, that ain't gonna
It's
happen.
a lot of eating.
Okay. So the condition would be maximum of 6 goats becoming effective January 1st, 2026. Does that sound doable?
Are we ready for a motion?
Well, we still have public comment yet. I know we're going to get public comment.
Glad I asked that question.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, just a quick
Yes.
question for Mr. Nichols or Mr. Wright. Mr. Cave will have still autonomy to enforce any welfare, right? Okay.
Correct.
Didn't know if this,
And I would just add to that, Mr. Whitman, even if VDAX gets a call, they usually use us, well, that is what they do, as foot soldiers anyway. So any of those calls would go directly, but it would be on a welfare check type of observation.
Okay, any other discussion before we do public comment? Okay, any public comment at this time? And just identify yourself and we'll go from there.
For tonight, I'm here by myself and my husband. My name is Elaine Hamill Jenkins, and I live next door to Mr. Fuchs. My comment about this is, you're thinking that he has, first of all, this dispute, I want to set something straight. This did not start over a driveway issue. This started back in March of 2025, when Mr. Fuchs met us in the back, and he said he was going to put a fence up to have a goat farm of 30 to 40 goats and a few cows. And we told him at that time, you're not allowed to do that. So that is what actually started this whole thing. I have been a resident here in Madison County for over 22 years. When I bought the property that long ago, I bought it because it was a nice residential neighborhood. It's zoned R1. There were farms around us, no big deal. The farm that he is referring to across the street that have cows and goats is a 5-acre parcel that is zoned agriculture. They have been a farm for over 100 years. I don't have a problem with that at all. That is their right. My problem is this. Mr. Fuchs came here, I think, with the notion of developing a food farm on a 1.19 acre of property. The parcel where he lives is the whole 1 acre. When he has goats, he's talking about, right now he has, I thought there were 7, and they have a half acre or less fenced area, okay? Yes, he feeds them, that's true. And they drink water out of the creek in the back. But the whole point is, if this is a residential neighborhood, which is supposed to be for single-family homes and their enjoyment of their property, I contend that it should not be for someone else's hobby farm or their homesteading, could we say. If you wanted to do that, that's fine. I'm all for that. Do it where you're allowed to do that. And that's my contention. He knew very well when he moved here 4 years ago that it was not zoned for animals, okay? And when he said he was gonna put all these animals up there, we informed him, you're not allowed to do that. This is for houses. Now, Mr. Fuchs has the smallest parcel along the road there on Wolftown Hood Road. He seems to be the only one to have a need to have livestock in his backyard, and I don't understand that. Except that they want to use it for their own harvesting, okay, which in my thought is, that's a food farm. The rules were there so that there wouldn't be excesses in this. In 2024, Mr. Fuchs had over 40 chickens, 2 hen houses, rabbit pens, goats, and he also raised a cow in his backyard in a small 15 by 20 fenced pen. So my contention is that, I'm sorry, if he wanted to be a farmer, he should have bought property in the appropriate area. I'm not against agriculture at all. It's why I live here. I like it. I love it. I work with the school district as a sub, and I'm happy to help the FFA kids, and I like their classes and all of that. I don't have a problem with that. But there has to be some kind of restriction, I think, for folks that don't want to have farm animals next to them because they didn't buy that property, and have some respect for the ownership of just homes. So while I agree that this is a farming area, it's wonderful. Keep the farms where the farms belong. I'm sorry, I did not enjoy living next to him when he had all those chickens and piles of chicken manure up on the hill where he now has cleared for the goats. I just think that this is the wrong way to do it. Mr. Nichols has contended that perhaps they should just kick that R1 restrictions to the curb and just allow whatever. I'm sorry, I think there's a place for that. If you expect to live in a rural neighborhood but with restrictions on farm animals, then I think that's what you should do. If you get rid of that regulation, then you open the door to excesses of all kinds. Suppose I wanted to have a pig farm in my backyard. Pigs stink, okay? I've lived on dairy farms. I know what it smells like. I don't wish to live next door to a goat farm. I'm sorry. Maybe 5 or 6 goats is not a big deal. But he only has an acre of property that includes his house, okay, and his storage units and whatever. I just don't think it's appropriate. Unfortunately, I guess for me, I'm the only one that this directly affects. Everybody else around me is further from him or has much larger properties. The rules say you do by what the rules are. That's why there are rules. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but I'm nervous. It's not, I'm not trying to limit people from having livestock, but what they're doing is essentially taking a 1 acre property and homesteading it. I don't think that's, I don't think you're gonna find that anywhere. Believe me, I used to read, organic gardening and all of that. They don't recommend that. It's not fair to the animals. It's not fair to the people that live around them. Mr. Elliott has said before that if I lived next door to 2 A1 properties, I shouldn't have a problem, and I wouldn't, but I don't. And that's the point. I think there has to be a respect of your neighbors issue in this. So that if you buy a property in a residential area and a residential neighborhood, then that should be the expectation. My husband and I have spent a lot of time and money and effort to develop a nice backyard. I work with the master gardeners. I'm happy to, if you wanted to plant trees back there, put grapes back there, go right for it. But he is interested, I believe, in first of all, a personal use property that he's going to grow animals, have animals, chickens, goats, maybe more, for their own personal consumption. And I think if you want to do that, you need to have the right property for that. I don't know what else to tell you. So, I only know that, when I'm at school and I sub, our thing is you tell the kids to do the next right thing. You abide by the rules. And if you don't abide by the rules, then there's consequences. Mr. Fuchs was allowed to keep 7 goats and 7 chickens all through the summer, when, if I go back through my notes here, and I wrote a lot of them, he was supposed to rehome these animals until his special use permit was voted on. That is what I understand the rules to be. But maybe I'm wrong. So you folks can decide. I know, I think there's going to be how do I say it? It's going to be a problem in the future if there are no restrictions on properties. Number one, he's in the wrong zone. He's not zoned for animals. Number two, he clearly does not have enough property to even have livestock in an R1 area. If he had more than 2 acres, he would be allowed to have livestock, which is why the property next to him, which has 3 acres, has some 40, 50, who knows how many goats. But he has more than 2 acres. I have looked the other way at a lot of things. I try to be a good neighbor. You can ask around. We've helped a lot of people in our neighborhood. I'm not just a grouchy old lady complaining here, okay? I don't want to see this be a runaway train. So if you have a particular number that you would give him a special use permit for, now you're suggesting 5, is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm hearing? 5, 6. Okay, 6. Well, according to what I read from the last notes of the last meeting, it was suggested to have between 5 and 7 per acre. And is that a fenced acre? I don't know. But 5 goats per acre was the suggested limit. But is that an acre, a fenced acre? Or is that an acre of someone's property? That includes their house and their front yard. So those are my questions to you folks. I mean, y'all are gonna do what you want, obviously, but it just, I think a proposition that would get rid of the proposal there, the restrictions, and be as Mr. Nichols says, a by right thing. So that would mean that a person could come into Madison, buy whatever size property they want, in whatever zone they want, and it is their right as a property owner to do whatever they want with it. And I submit that that would be reckless. I'm sorry. It's just not fair to other people in the neighborhood. I mean, we've had to put up with his cow bawling, the smell of the cow, piles of chicken manure, the fighting of the goats. It's not always fun, especially when you feel that shouldn't be there at all in the first place. So that is why I'm here, and that's why I'm speaking up. And I thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am. Any further public comment? Anybody online? Thank you. All right, any further discussion?
I just want to make a comment.
Mhm.
And I have no idea what their covenants is. But think about this. Tomorrow morning, everybody in Malvern can get goats. The biggest subdivision in Madison can all have goats. It's all they want.
Mhm.
There's nothing in the covenants to exclude that.
Everybody in Madison can get goats.
And if it was, they probably wouldn't follow that rule anyway.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Fuchs, goats. Keep it simple. But so I would make a motion that case number SU-05-25-01 be recommended to the Board of Supervisors for approval, with the one condition, the maximum amount of goats allowed on site at any given time is 6. And that is all I'm going to do.
Point of order.
Point of order. What?
I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, please.
Should any other animals be brought in, then that would require another SUP, is that correct?
This is specifically.
Probably, I think there's another point of order coming.
Mr. Chairman, the
Yeah,
proper,
we have a-
yeah, to get a second for discussion.
Is the January 1 thing part of his motion?
Yeah,
He needs to define that.
all right. All right, we've got a motion on the floor for recommending approval with the condition of a maximum number of 6 goats.
And Mr. Cowan, is that starting with the January 1, or is that excluding that part?
I wasn't going to put that in there.
That's
We've
fine.
never done that before. People always just kind of have a
I'm only asking for
time to work those
clarification. You
things
don't have
out,
to
and I didn't want to
justify
start a precedence. And then, obviously, all the other rights would be like anybody else in any R1 parcel. I don't know if that includes chickens or ducks or whatever. That's not,
Yeah, we're just talking about the goats.
yes, that is the motion as it
Okay,
stands.
so your motion is simply the proposal as it stands with the maximum of 6 goats for the livestock.
May I
Yes.
comment?
Yes,
Quickly on
well,
this?
There's no second yet, so.
Correct. If he doesn't get rid of these goats tomorrow, is he in non-compliance?
Gotta have a second.
We can, yeah.
If there's
we'll-
no second, then it fails.
but I'd love to
All right.
discuss that.
All right, after we
Sure.
have the motion and second, we can entertain discussion. Is there a second? All right, so we have the motion, we have a second. Further discussion? Question was,
The question is, so is tomorrow morning he in noncompliance? And if
Technically.
he is in noncompliance,
If I send the gentleman a notice that he is in violation of his newly minted permit, he's got 30 days to appeal,
okay, fair enough.
but, or come into compliance. But I mean, I think that we are reasonable individuals, and if we know it takes, a moment, I'm quite sure that we will discuss coming into compliance in a reasonable nature. Or you can choose to include language for the cutoff time as you see fit.
Well, it's already been first and seconded, so.
Wonderful. Just for clarification, though, I did hear Mr. Cowan say that this is for livestock, so we're not prohibiting any other animals, but we're limiting the number of goats up to 6. Is that correct?
I mean, this is a special use permit to allow up to a maximum of 6 goats on the property. All the other uses pertaining to the property are as stated in the ordinance.
Okay,
It doesn't address or not address.
that's what I wanted clarification on. You have chickens?
any further discussion? All right, we have a motion on the floor, which has been seconded. Any further discussion? All right, let's take a voice vote first and see what happens. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Okay, that means that case number SU-05-25-01 will be recommended for approval with the condition that there will be no more than 6 goats kept on the property. Okay. We do have an item that you wanted to introduce, is that right, Alan?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So in response to previous concerns brought to light by the Planning Commission and others regarding certain uses in rural areas, we have a lot of landscape contractors, arborists, people who have small construction companies. They park equipment at their homes. They go do work at their clients' properties. And this comes up as a point of contention because we have an article in our ordinance that says if a use is not permitted, it's prohibited. So in order to address the needs of many of Madison's entrepreneurs, I did draft a loose ordinance to allow for rural services and contractor use of properties in A1 and C1. I suspect that in the very near future, this will come up for discussion by the Board of Supervisors and further direction may be given. But I would encourage you all to have a read through the draft that is there and the explanation preceding it of why we need it and prepare some thoughts on that for an upcoming workshop. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. So our homework assignment is to take a look at this and have discussion ready for the next workshop.
That would be delightful.
Okay, thank you.
I believe this is also on the Board of Supervisors' agenda, so they may give direction.
Give some further direction.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Mr. Nichols, is this, I'm just curious, because I did read through it a couple times, and I appreciate that. I think there's a great need for something like this. I think I identified some time ago. Is this more to address the guy and his helper situation, a few guys? Or is this more intended to address possibly larger scale? I mean, it has the word small scale on it.
If you have a guy and his helper, most of those things go unnoticed. You've got a truck sitting in a driveway. But what happens is, as people find success and they grow, they become limited because we don't have any provisions to facilitate entrepreneurship in these categories of business.
Yeah.
So we need a path to allow people to conduct business, whether it be people that you've cited in the past or any number of other folks as we drive around who are doing similar type businesses, yes.
So to be plain, would this, address something like Lee Highway Nurseries,
I hope so.
relatively blatant?
You're gonna give them a special use permit should you develop an ordinance like this while being able to
Okay.
mitigate concerns to neighbors.
Gotcha. Is there other
Sounds like a good item to discuss in a workshop.
ordinances in the surrounding counties or the Commonwealth that, mimic this, or?
I mean, I think those sound like wonderful things to unpack in a workshop. I'm sure we can find something.
Sounds good.
But we like to say we have unique needs. We're gonna come up with unique solutions.
Thank you for answering all of my questions.
Thank you.
I'd like to say that one of the things that just has been crossing my mind in thinking about this is on both sides of the fence. If we were to look at some of the stuff, how does it benefit the county to rezone anything from this to a B1, as we made them do at Virginia Landscapes? I don't know if there was ever, I really don't even know what the intention was there, other than from them to make code. But just in my thinking is, how does that benefit the county?
There've been a number of things that have come along,
People that aren't in compliance.
That's right,
Want to be appeased.
that's right. It's just a thought.
No.
It's just something for me to think about, and I'm just throwing it out there for general thought.
I mean, if you ask my opinion, I'd say it's the wrong question to ask. The question is not how it benefits the county, it's how it benefits the business owners who are contributing to the gross economy. But anyway, we can unpack all that later.
I mean, either way,
Yeah,
either way,
sure.
you can think about it either way, in both ways,
Yeah.
in both ways.
Discussion at workshop.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Upcoming workshop items. You want to go through those real
Upcoming
quick?
workshop items, yep. So we're going to talk about goats one more time for our fourth workshop. We're going to talk about Mr. Esch's proposed changes to Article 7 in a fourth workshop. And for December, we have a public hearing scheduled for a small modification to our commercial solar ordinance as required by state code.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Any other discussion? Any further public comment? If not, can I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors portion of the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. We do need to adopt an agenda. I think the only addition that I've got is under new business. Let's put it as new business 1 or something, is rural services and contractor use service, SUP, tasking to the Planning Commission that they just talked about. Anybody else have any additions to the agenda this evening? What would y'all like to do?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Public comment. Any public comment? Thank you, Ms. Turner. All right, right into the case. Case number SU-09-25-01, Darrell Payne, SU, special use permit, public hearing. Darrell Payne has submitted an application for a special use permit for a mini storage facility on property identified on Madison County Tax Map 40-19B. The subject parcel is 2.959 acres GIS and is zoned B1 Business General. Mini storage units are a special permit use in the B1 zoning district, Article 8-2-11. The proposed activity is to take place in an existing building and no new structures are proposed. Mr. Nichols, anything to add?
No, Mr. Chairman.
questions for Mr. Nichols? All right, the applicant has left. Anybody have any comments that they were planning to make to the applicant? All right, to the public. To the public. All right, back to the board. What would y'all like to do?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve case number SU-09-25-01.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Case number SU-05-25-01, Gerald Fuchs, special use permit, public hearing. Gerald Fuchs is seeking a special use permit in accordance with Madison County zoning ordinance, Article 5-2-1 for livestock on lot less than 2 acres. The subject property is located at 3632 Wolftown Hood Road and is further identified as Madison County Tax Map 46-54B. The parcel is 1.191 acres GIS and is zoned R1. Mr. Nichols, anything?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Mr. Nichols?
No, sir.
All right. To the applicant. Anything to add, Mr. Fuchs?
By Saturday, I'll be in compliance with the numbers.
Okay. Anybody have questions for Mr. Fuchs? All right, why don't we go to the public? To the public again. All right, again, no. Back to the board. We do have a recommendation of a maximum of 6 from the Planning Commission of goats. I would like to point out, I was in a fairly poor mood before I got here. After all this goat talk, and I don't really even care for goats, it has elevated my mood. I think that a kid goat should count as 0.3 goats. So to get 4, you have to get over the 1 adult goat. It seems ridiculous to be regulating goat quantities in an agricultural community, even with the R1 zoning that's in place. It just seems like something that's a black hole and to some extent a self-solving problem.
Yeah, I think it's arbitrary. I don't like it. There are other factors that'll address the concerns, got animal control, all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm not in favor. The one condition I recall that I think we should add is that the SUP will go with the property owner. I would like to have that in there, if you all agree. But the number, I would strike that. And having the VDOC's requirement in there is, I don't know, it's neither here nor there, I guess.
And it's already being enforced based on
Anyway,
animal
yeah.
control.
So I think that just got put in there during a workshop, just to say it again. So leaving it in there is fine with me.
Resident goat expert, please.
This exciting conversation, really, I might have missed it, but what happens when the goat has kids? How long do they have to take care of the number?
I say I'm not putting a number on it.
No,
So-
the number of days, or when they can go back to 6. So say they have 6 goats, they have 2 kids that come from one of the goats, gives them 8. So how do you get down to 6 again? How long do they have, or is it when the kids become adults?
Well, it's not an issue with me. I will be prepared to make a motion that we do not put a number on these goats. So it's not an issue with me. But if anybody else wants to answer that, if they do have an issue with the number, then
I agree with
we
that.
can do that.
I mean, let's just use the scenario that was pointed out earlier. You put 40 or 50 goats on an acre. It's gonna be, VDAX is going to be involved.
Okay.
And that includes animal control. I just don't see, I see that as a no-go. The idea, the reason I make the joke about the 0.3 and the kid goats is enforcement of this is gonna be challenging. And the thing that right down the street, here on Main Street, somebody has 4 goats in town. Nobody even knows this. I mean, it's just kind of, it's not Dustin. I got too much electrical stuff going on. I just see it as, it's just too much in an agricultural community to be regulating such things.
Well, let's just this ball roll. We've already gone to the public, haven't we, Mr.
Sure
Chairman?
we have.
So I'd like to make a motion that we approve case number SU-05-25-01, with the current condition that's in there, the livestock to be kept in compliance with the requirements of Virginia Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. And the second condition being the SUP will go with the property owner. That's my motion. Only two conditions.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Can I overcomplicate this already very complicated situation? I have to tend, I agree with pretty much everybody's arguments, but the lady here did have a point. There's gotta be a hard limit at some point in time that's where we say, okay, you know, you're not gonna shove 40 goats on there for a month till somebody comes along and files a protest and, you know, whoever comes in has to deal with it. You know, I was looking up the USDA guidelines for an animal unit, and the equivalent for a goat, one animal unit is, of course, a 1,000-pound beef cattle with a calf. An equivalent goat unit is 0.15 animal units, and a kid, meaning a goat's kid, not your kid, is 0.10. So you could have 2 adults for every 3 kid goats. You know, and not splitting hairs, not trying to over complicate it or add to enforcement burden, but I just really am a little bit uncomfortable just saying, okay, well, let them all go and let somebody else deal with it, because that's kind of absolving ourselves of our zoning rules. You understand where I'm coming from here? I'm just saying that it's really a gray area until it's not a gray area. That's my 2 cents.
Enforcement, yeah.
All right, further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion that's on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
All right. That work? 4-1?
Yes.
There you go.
Apologies, I'm not.
No worries at all. No worries at all. All right, now, new business. Thank you, Mr. Fuchs. We do have this, this draft that's been floated around, the Rural Services and Contractor Use Service, SUP. It does seem to be a pressing issue in Madison, that there are some businesses that, fall outside of zoning. Is this something that we would like to formally task the Planning Commission with studying?
I certainly think so, Mr. Chairman. I gave it a read through. I think it's a good start, for sure.
Mr. Chairman, how would this tie into further research on home-based businesses and what we're gonna allow, what we're not gonna allow? Does that tie in with that, or is that something completely different?
No, that's basic. We're talking.
Should that be part of the study then, or the charge to the Planning Commission?
That's
I
where I
would
think.
think so.
All influence.
Yeah, I'd say it all goes together.
Yeah.
What would y'all like to do with this direction?
I move to recommend that the Planning Commission undertake this study.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Any information and correspondence? Discussion. How's VACO legislative updates going?
So I'd like to turn that over to Supervisor Jewett. He's attending the annual VACO conference. I think it starts this upcoming weekend. However, check your inbox when you have time, not talking about goats. To look, there is a draft legislative update that RRC just put out as well. I think it'll mirror well what Mr. Jewett will talk about tonight. So the thought was, Mr. Jewett, Hannon, and somewhat Quasi myself have been having some dialogue. A lot of that based on your feedback earlier on, or what are some concerns you have, such as, usurping local zoning authority and data, center and battery storage siting and collective bargaining agreement, all these things that you have concerns about, to make sure that you as a group are defining your legislative agenda that will at some point make its way up through the VACO channels, ultimately to the General Assembly through our lobbying services that the PD9 uses, such as Elton James. So, Mr. Jewett, I hope I broke the ice well, but I'll turn it to you, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask him about goats at Vaco, that's my first question. Now, as you know, with the elections, we don't know what the consequences of that will be with our legislation in the next assembly. What I would recommend doing is, this is general practice, is to let me go to the conference and get a feel from what I'm hearing from other localities, the legislators that are there, express concerns, convey concerns, articulate them, and try to stimulate some conversation to try to get some information I can bring back to you guys, so that we have a starting point. We pretty much know where our positions are, retain local control. All right, how the specifics of that work out in the legislation, we'll have to see. Now, one thing we had talked about, and Hannon very graciously drafted an amendment to the Virginia Code that would allow localities, this is a proposed amendment, obviously, that would allow localities to assess impact fees. And he based it off of a failed bill from 2020 that was submitted to the General Assembly. And I think that's, did everybody get this, Jonathan? Did you send this around?
Let me pull that up now, sir.
Hannon ought to be in the General Assembly, by the way. But it essentially allows, the amendment to the code that was proposed in House Bill 1564 back in 2020 that failed would allow localities to assess impact fees. It put a specific limit on, or specific amount on what could be assessed. It is not an arbitrary amount. Now, what Mr. Wright did was, he did draft this version of this bill or amendment to this part of the code that would allow localities to impose impact fees on development, specifically development coming from ag land or residential land, and this would have to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. It would be used to defray capital costs of public facilities related to residential development, which of course includes just about anything, highways, schools, traffic, law enforcement, et cetera, et cetera. And his does not have any specific amounts that would be permissible, which I think is something that would need to be explored further before that specific recommendation was made. Our new House of Delegate member, Karen Hamilton, I talked to her about this, and she said, please forward everything you have on this as soon as you can, and keep her in the loop as to what we would like to do. The legislative calendar starts, I think has already started for new bills in the spring. I'd also like to suggest that we forward it on to Senator Reeves to keep him in the loop, to let them know that this is something that we would like to pursue, even though we might just be chasing a rainbow. I don't know. That's what I got from Vaco the last time I went. Of course, half of them had been at the brewery for an hour, so I'm not exactly sure how clear their thinking was. And the half that stayed after it was over, who knows what condition they were in an hour after we left. I left. I didn't stay. I didn't have a drink. And so this is something that I wanted to recommend. The other thing that Mr. Wright drafted was a proposal to change our fabulous Senate Bill 974 that we love so much, that would allow a locality with a population of 20,000 or less to be the designated agent for site plans. Right now, it's limited to 5,000 under the code. So these are some things I just wanted to bring before you folks. If this is something that you want me to pursue, do you want me to forward these to our legislators, at least for just to open the discussion? And then again, when I go to VACO, let me kind of feel people out, see where we might be going with this, and then I'll come back and report, and we could, I guess, make a specific recommendation. Mr. Weekly, do you think that's a good course of action?
I think it's a great course of action, and forgive me, that is sitting in your inbox now. Alan does have that to throw on the screen if you want to look at either of them. The shorter of the two was going back and redefining, as Mr. Jewett pointed out, when they changed the law, designated agent, you know, the only ones that had the benefit of population were really towns, like Madison. They have less than 5,000 people. So that would throw it back out there to put that purview as it was before, which also brings back the public comment. But I definitely think it's a great idea. You're in this window of time, and again, your inbox also has your draft legislative issues. Mr. Jewett and I spoke earlier today. I really encourage board members, whoever you appoint to your VACO, and that doesn't mean that's the only person can go. Get on steering committees, get in the sausage making earlier, because the meeting that Mr. Jewett is going to, they have steering committees for various things, agriculture, economic development, whatever. And, at that table, you have an opportunity to kind of shape some of these things. So when we get to the local government day that Supervisors Buchanan and Jewett and myself, and I think Mr. Gordon last year, we go in February. Well, a lot of that's based off of those steering committees that begin in November. So I think it's a great strategy. It also gives an opportunity to ensure our state representatives are hearing directly from their localities and representing, whether it's a regional effort or there may be standalone issues. You may see this legislative platform and say, hey, these are specific Madison things, the rest of it we're not caring about, and that's fine too. So great course of action.
I'd also like to ask the board, I'm gonna inquire as to what steering committees have openings. Now, there's just a few that I would be interested in, like those related to local issues, taxes, zoning, agriculture. But look to see what might be available, and if there are slots and I can apply, I'd report back to you which ones I'd like to apply to. And you would give your assent to do that. I just don't want to go down and jump on a committee. I might be sorry I'm on one anyway, but I think that's just really because we just don't know quite enough yet. This is pretty new for us. But VACO is the only thing standing between us and annihilation of local control. And I know that one of the good things in VACO, it's pretty bipartisan. Red or blue, leave us alone. And that's the only thing that keeps us some semblance of local control. So that's why I want to become active in it. But thank you, Mr. Wright, for he took time to go through this, research it, and I think he has a pretty good draft up.
Anything else?
Sounds good to
That's
me.
all I have, sir.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
I think you got a good plan. Anybody else have any further business? What would you like to do?
Public comment?
Yeah, public comment, thank you.
I have some things, Mr. Chairman.
Go.
Please.
I've been watching some issues and watching some things that's going on, and it feels like to me, I get the opinion is picking and choosing. And we had a gentleman that come in here, and he said he wanted to sell milk bottles and what have you to get his piece of land zone B1. Well, he came back shortly after that and said, I want to change it to, I can do anything there. So you go down to that piece of property, and he's probably got 40 containers down there. He's put up 4 or 5 buildings down there. So I went to see Mr. Nichols the other day. I said, I'd like to see his site plan. Well, he's got a site plan, but guess what? There's no VDOT approval. There's no erosion control approval. There's no approvals whatsoever. And he's running a business. He's got a big sign out there that says, I'm open. If you think I'm not telling you the truth, I'll let you see my phone. It's a big sign that says I'm open. He's in business every day. He's running that business. Now, I was under the understanding is you get a site plan approved, and once that's approved, you do everything that the site plan says, and then you go in business. I don't understand how this man is operating a business and no approval on a site plan. We'll talk about another issue. When I put my sign up to tell them to come to my auction house, I went and bought a zoning permit, bought a building permit. They came down and made sure I was 30 feet from the right-of-way. They measured my holes to make sure I was 3 foot deep. You go right down the road from me, there's an air conditioner sign down there that's sitting 5 foot off the right-of-way. He could have got a permit because they would have turned it down. So how did he put his up without a permit? But I bought a permit. You go in the county and you ride around to some of these new subdivisions putting in, and I know that we said you had to build a road that met state specs. Go take a look. Don't listen to me. Just go take a look. I seen a road being built the other day to a subdivision, and I've built as many roads as anybody in this county. I did it for 30 years. And you don't dump 4 inches of gravel on the topsoil and call it a state road. Don't work. And I'm seeing that everywhere. You gotta do something about it. The last thing I wanna tell you is, I've been in business for 17 years. After 17 years, I let the rescue squad, the Little League, the 4-H, anybody wanted to come in and sell food. I never took one penny. In 17 years, not once. I get a letter in the email says cease and desist. So I had to cease and desist from selling hot dogs and hamburgers. He told me, he said, if you want to sell hot dogs and hamburgers, you got to build a kitchen. Cost me $10,000 to build a kitchen. I don't care about the money. It means nothing. I would have just as soon give it to Parks and Recreation. I don't care about the money, but I care about the part that I got to do that and everybody else ain't. So it's $10,000 to let a nonprofit organization sell hot dogs and hamburgers. Gentlemen, there's something wrong. Thank you.
Other public comment? All right, what would you like to do?
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made, seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you all.